We are live 364 days a year. What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I've told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
How do you not get sushi after Monday Night Raw?
Welcome to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, a show where a rotating cast of wrestling fans from around the world come and share and debate their opinions, with live comments from all of you shown throughout, as after all, fans are what makes wrestling so special. So sit back, grab a beverage, and enjoy the show.
What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Valentine's Day, or Valentine's Day, as I used to call it as a kid. Saturday, February the 14th. Stoked to be here. Do not have a date tonight, but hit me up in the comments. Let me know. I am available Saturday night. Could be fun if you're in the area. Either way, I've got a sweet crew here with me to break down Friday Night SmackDown from last night, and we're going to do so without question. First and foremost, let's keep this on the West Coast. And let me introduce to you Mary, All Elite Mary normally, but today it's SmackDown Mary. How are you?
We bring in the SmackDown. I got my Valentine right here. Moo in the chat. Say hello, Moo. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody watching. We all love you. If you don't have a Valentine, too bad. I'm here. Let's get into it.
Hey, whoa. You have a Valentine, though. That seems unfair.
Oh, yeah. He's sitting
That
right next
seems
to me.
totally unfair. Shout out Luis.
love-
What do you mean?
we
I
love
can't believe you
everybody.
just left Luis hanging like that on Valentine's Day, Mary. I'm kidding. We've also got Adrian Padilla in the comments here with good afternoon, WR crew, and happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, Adrian. See, I did it again. It's a bad habit. I can't break it. Valentine's. I think it's funnier. It's way funnier. Like, what does Valentine even mean? Ben Davis Davis with Cody Hogan strikes again. Yep, there you go. I guess maybe. I don't know, but I do know one of the biggest Cody Rhodes fans in the world is our head of opinions out in Philadelphia, and Anthony's here with us as well. Happy Saturday. How are you? Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day. No, it's always fun to do these. We do actually have AEW on tonight, the Australian show, which we're trying to avoid spoilers because apparently that was obviously taped. So there's that. Triple A's on tonight. There's other things on tonight. So if you don't have any plans, there is wrestling on tonight. So let's get into some SmackDown.
No doubt about it. I will say this, if you're a regular viewer, if you don't mind, if you for some reason do know the results of tonight's Grand Slam event that happened and was taped last night in Australia, please just don't put them in the comments. We just don't want anybody that hasn't seen it to have it spoiled, and that's why we're not breaking it down yet. Nothing malicious here. We may even be aware of some results ourselves, but we assure you they won't be revealed on today's show. Not on this Saturday, my friends. But let's get right into it. No doubt about it. We've got also hello from numero one Superfly. Gotta shout out numero one. No doubt about it. But let's get right into some women's action here, because this was a rivalry that's been built up from a beautiful stare down, a little bit of can they coexist, a classic Jinx moment on the microphone between both Jade and Jordynne Grace. And then we had the match, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. Jordynne Grace is a veteran in professional wrestling. She may not be a veteran on the WWE main roster, but she's a veteran in professional wrestling. Alongside Jade last night, both looked amazing. I loved this. This wasn't a definitive end to these two being around each other on Friday nights, in my opinion, if that makes sense. I think the chemistry is there, whether they're teaming together, on the mic together, or wrestling each other. And I think that was proven last night in this match. Jade by Jaded, it's the logical outcome. But man, did Jordynne Grace hold up her end of the bargain. Mary, I want to get your thoughts, and then Ant, I want you to break it down as well.
Yeah, she definitely held up her end. A lot of people thought this match would under deliver. I thought the complete opposite. I thought it was fine. It did its justice, but the right woman won. I think coming into WrestleMania season, Jade Cargill has to be champion. Like that was not to be mean the obvious hello. But as far as for like Liv Morgan and the Judgment Day being there, I thought it was a little goofy, but it kind of gave it a little bit of a, oh, she's here. Yay. Is she going to pick her? And I think that kind of still gives Liv a little bit of an edge to her still as we kind of try and figure out who she's going to pick. Because at this point, I kind of don't even know. I don't even know if she's going to pick Jade or Stephanie at this point. But it's good. It's good for surprises. So I'm interested.
I liked the promo segment myself too. I'm with you on that, and I found it really interesting too. To your point, the Liv aspect of this, right? It feels very much like logically Liv is going to pick either Stephanie Vauquer or potentially Raquel's going to win that title somehow. I feel like those are sort of the two options, and that's the logical route for Liv Morgan. This promo segment at least got me intrigued. And as great as Punk and Roman were coming out of the Rumble, it sort of poo-pooed any idea of a Drew McIntyre matchup or any idea of a potential for a swerve where it's Roman Cody somehow, right? It eliminated that on a Monday very quickly. And suddenly now it's very obvious, yeah, the matchup is Roman Punk. That's out of the question. There isn't going to be a follow-up. Maybe it's you. No, he picked. Having Liv sort of drag that out, I didn't mind so much. And to your point, we don't really know. Actually, it is possible she picks Jade Cargill. I just personally have been thinking there's got to be a way you have Raquel involved, even if it's a triple threat type of a thing. What I would fear the most, though, is if somehow we ended up with a triple threat with Raquel, Jade, and Liv. That seems way too out of left field considering what Jade's got going with not only Jordynne Grace, but her history with both Naomi as well as a potentially returning Bianca Belair. There's a lot at play here, but last night's match and Jade's title reign, I think, has been underrated so far in general. I think last night's match was proof of that. Are you in agreement on that, Ant? I want your thoughts on it. You've covered and followed Jordynne Grace's entire, there's no debating that. I thought this was a really, really, really big main roster moment for her.
The problem that I have with this is, and I do have a small problem with this, is that, you built this up and, okay, you're throwing it on SmackDown. So this really could have probably been a chamber match. But again, I know they're limited with number of slots on the show. I don't think I would have done the definitive finish where she beat Jordynne as cleanly as she did. I think you had options there. Especially since you had Liv there with the whole taunting of like, am I going to challenge you or am I going to challenge Stephanie? Who am I going to challenge for the title? Which I'm completely fine with it because Liv's a heel. It makes sense. They're doing the whole thing where, I could challenge you. I could challenge you. Realistically, she would have no shot against Jade. Jade really hasn't defended that title. Now she's a heel, so you can kind of get away with that stuff, even though technically they choose when they want to do that. Oh, you got to defend the title within 30 days thing. They conveniently, whenever they feel like doing that. What I would have done is to save Jordynne a little bit. I would have had either Liv or Raquel or Dom or whoever cost Jordynne the match. And then you can kind of do the taunt thing of going, well, we helped you retain because I want to beat you, maybe, or maybe I want Stephanie. And you can kind of do that, and Jordynne gets, a little safety net there because you got beat clean. So I don't know necessarily if that really helped her as much with the build-up, with her losing cleanly in this situation. I thought the match itself was solid. Like I said, the finish, I think you had another out that you could have done, which would have helped other people in this.
Added a layer, and I totally hear where you're coming from. My only retort to that is not really a retort. It's more of just like my only thought on it is there were so many finishes with shenanigans last night. If you added that other layer, that would have been the only issue that I could see in that, because I think that is the logical one if it wasn't last night, if that makes sense, right? Like if the rest of the show was different.
If the rest of the show was different, and also, I mean, I'm looking at it from the mentality of, to me, Jordynne against Jade is a money match. If they don't view it as such and they just want to end it and then they're going to do something with Jordynne, maybe the secondary title,
Right.
and then eventually revisit a world title when Jade's not the champion or whatever. That's a direction they could go, but like I said, I think I would have done it differently, and you would have to book the show a little bit differently, but just based on that one match,
Yeah.
I would have done a little something different.
I completely hear where you're coming from. And this is something that's really interesting to me, is because we've talked a lot about the comparisons to, the two dudes with attitudes, Sean and Diesel, when it comes to Raquel and Liv.
Mm-hmm.
Weirdly, if you remember correct, with the holding all the belts storyline,
Mm-hmm.
with those two on paper, they're much less like Sean and Diesel.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Jordan Grace and Jade are closer to actually accomplishing that feat.
Yeah.
Than Raquel and Liv are. And that's something interesting, because if to your point, with the interference, with the involving themselves in the match,
Mm-hmm.
had we booked it that way, now suddenly we've set ourselves up for a tag team rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
And we have as Mary mentioned earlier in the week, if you haven't checked out the YouTube video, the tag team division has been standing out. Cheap plug, but seriously, do check it out. Not right now, just after this show.
Mm-hmm.
Right as soon as you run out of live show, check
Yes.
out the taped one. But Mary broke it down perfectly, and the tag team division's been on fire. If you can add Jordan Grace and Jade, who have great chemistry, and insert them into that, I think there's something there.
We covered that. I think, was it last week or whatever? Whenever they tagged, I think it was last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When it was with them. If you infuse them into the tag division, that could be a Road Warriors level women's team in the division.
Just two complete juggernauts.
Yes,
pun intended.
Mm-hmm. The Brothers of Destruction, if you will, of the women's division.
And that's where, okay. And so I've got a comment I want to read really quick from Number One Superfly, because I want to ask Mary about this. Number One said, "Who does Jade face at WrestleMania? I honestly have zero interest in seeing Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, as this would mark the 8th time she's been involved in a title match at Mania alone. I don't think Charlotte Flair is in the cards right now for Jade. I really only think there's a few options. One of them being Bianca, who I previously mentioned. One of them being Liv, who you mentioned, Mary, earlier in this show as at least hinting at maybe a possibility last night in the promo. I think less likely Liv. And then the other opponent might be Jordan herself, if we can tell this story quick enough. We do have more weeks, and I would not keep these two away from each other. And then last, the wild card pick, in my eyes, if Naomi can return, Naomi can return. Let's tell that story. But I want to get your thoughts on that, Mary, because there's a lot of good choices here, I do think, for Jade. I really do not think it's Liv, though.
I don't think it's Liv either, let alone Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair is currently in a really good storyline with Alexa, as far as those two being like one of the solid makeshift tag teams, as I've kind of mentioned, in selfless, shameless plug, you guys. But yeah, I mentioned that in the video yesterday. But going in for Mania for Jade, she needs someone solid. She needs, like how you said, a Bianca or even a Naomi if she does come back in time. But I hope she is doing well, though, because pregnancy is rough, you guys. Pregnancy is rough. But for her possibilities, it could be anybody. It could be Raquel, for all we know. I mean, we still have so many qualifying matches for the Chamber, and I feel like this match overall last night, not being in the main event, was kind of like throwing us off, I feel, because we were supposed to kind of like expect something crazy towards the end, and we'll get to that later. Just wanted to put that out there.
I'm 100% with you. I mean, listen, like you said, pregnancy is rough. From what I've heard, you get a whole baby at the end, and then you have to take care of it. And like, so there's like a lot that goes into it, no doubt. So no pressure on Naomi to come back like anytime soon, whenever she's ready. But a Naomi Jade match does, at least on paper, to me, seem like a put it on the poster type match, something you only really get with her or the Bianca name when it comes to Jade's particular rivalries since she's been in WWE. And I find that interesting. Jordan, though, I think has inserted herself into that equation, even in spite of the loss last night, right? As much as what we broke down with Anthony when it comes to the finish could have been a little bit different. I thought Jordan stood 10 toes down. the way the promo segments have gone, the way that she's worked. Can we coexist is a great wrestling cliche that we lob around all the time, like it's no big deal. That type of storytelling, though, has been delivered between Jordan and Jade as well as I've seen it in years. And that's something I've just been really impressed by. One more comment, then I promise we'll go to the next segment, though. Because DCX Warlord's just telling the truth here. In my absence yesterday, obviously, we did a Mount Rushmore of wrestlers whose names start with an A, and Andy Kaufman absolutely would have been my first pick. There's almost no question about that, DCX. So I do have to give you the shout out for that in the comments section yesterday. But let's talk about, speaking of wrestlers whose names start with the letter A, let's talk about very quickly Alexa Bliss taking on Julia, taking on Zelina Vega, Elimination Chamber qualifier. And we saw a Sister Abigail and a victory for Bliss. Obviously, a little bit of tension between her and Charlotte at times, but she was eliminated by Nia Jax, not Charlotte Flair. So she made sure to let us know that. But Mary, I'm going to go to you out of the gates on this. What are your thoughts on Alexa Bliss entering the chamber and maybe her potential to win it? We just discussed opponents for Jade Cargill. If Alexa Bliss wins this, could that be one? I don't know if there's enough time to build it, but she is in the match.
If she wins it, she wins it. I mean, that would be fascinating. It would be a fascinating kind of like curveball. Alexa Bliss versus Jade at Mania. I don't think that's really a match that a lot of people thought of, just because of kind of the character position that she's in right now. We all know she's the goddess in our eyes. We all know that. Come on. She's the goddess, you guys. We can deny it for the rest of the show, but she is the goddess. When she's in the ring, she's always got the best performance that she gives out. But I will say it's simple. Justice for Julia. I don't understand why she is the quote-unquote champ for the mid-card division, and she's just loss after loss after loss after loss. If this doesn't build into something different for her later down the road, it's really worrisome for me. And going into Chamber, I did not expect Julia to win, which again, that's kind of sad. With most champions being in like a certain somebody, Miss Mommy, we all know her aura is a little bit different than Julia. At the end of the day, we want the best for her too. But if Alexa pulls off the upset, I ain't mad at it.
I couldn't agree more. To be completely honest, when it comes to Julia, someone needs to buy Julia a pair of sunglasses because she's had to look up at the lights far too often of late. It's just not ideal. And I don't really understand the why of it. Here's the thing. And, this is interesting, Fernando. Julia needs to work on her mic skills like everyone else.
You don't need to.
You have to give Julia a mic.
You have to let
Julia
her talk
doesn't
first.
get a mic. They don't give Julia a mic to talk, so we don't even know if she's good. I feel like it's speculation. And Fernando, friend of the show, dude, so I'm not knocking you because I completely understand where you're coming from and the why of it. But how can we judge somebody who doesn't get handed a mic? If she was having poor performances on the mic consistently, I think we could be more highly critical of Julia's promo ability. She doesn't get promos. Maybe there's a why to that. But now we're digging into layers upon layers upon layers. On the flip side of that, Alexa Bliss, interestingly enough, I thought about this. If there was enough time, which I don't think there is, truthfully, if there was enough time, could we not have Alexa Bliss be the bully that she used to be to Nia Jax, to Jade Cargill in a great Mania rivalry? Like, I thought about this. It's way too late now. So it's a waste of energy there, I think. But man, that felt like a stone that could have been turned back open. I don't know if she can play that character again, but I do think it was one of the brilliant moments of her career. Obviously, she picks up the win last night. And I want you to break it all down for me. Do you have an early chamber pick? Do you have a direction for Alexa Bliss as far as in this match? What were your thoughts on the triple threat in general? What are your thoughts on what we broke down about Julia? I know I asked you a lot of questions. Navigate it your best.
Okay. The first thing that you mentioned about whether or not Bliss could pull off the bully role. The way society is now, I just don't think they would. there would be such bad. Oh, you're doing the whole thing to be a star, not anti-bully thing, and then you're doing that. People complain because they complain about everything. Do I think it could work? Yeah, I could see it working. The Charlotte Bliss dynamic is somewhat interesting. Last night I did love the fact that Charlotte gave her flowers that were black. It was very Addams Family-esque, and a framed photo of herself signed. So they still has the ego, and she goes, "Well, it's made out to you." I think some weird way Charlotte has found like this comedic part that I didn't think she had in her that sort of worked. And I think everyone's expecting Charlotte to turn on Bliss at some point. But honestly, when they do it, I'd have Bliss be the one who turns, because I think that would be the shocker. Charlotte turning, okay, well, it's Charlotte. She's a Flair. That's the dirtiest player's daughter. Like that you would expect that. I don't know where they're going to go with this long term. Like, I'm not sure who's going to face Jade. Bianca's certainly a possibility, but I don't know where you're going to pull her out from, because unless you have the Chamber winner and the Rumble winner challenge for the same champion and it's not Jade, then who are you going to put in that spot? Like, whoever wins the Chamber, in theory, if Liv goes the direction where I think we all think she's going, which is probably Stephanie or whoever's holding that title on Raw, then who are you going to get for this? Naomi makes the most sense, but realistically, she went out in August. I don't know. I don't remember exactly when she had the kid. It might be a little too close. I don't know. Jordan would have made sense if she didn't lose cleanly. I mean, you could still build towards it. You can make it work, but I'm not sure where you're going to go with that necessarily. The other thing is, I don't know. Julia's case, I mean, they gave her Kiana as a mouthpiece for the language thing. But I don't know if Julia is necessarily connecting with the crowd the way they want her to.
Even bell to bell, maybe that's
you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Like it's tough. It's a tough spot. The language barrier thing is always a tough spot, and I think people forget that. Like, the diehard wrestling fans will see something and go, weird. They're just phenomenal. They're not just looking at that. They're looking at other numbers. They're looking at merch. They're looking at this and that. I'm not saying they're doing the right thing with Julia, but there's a lot more that goes into it than just, the IWC loves this person.
So I obviously asked you like 9 questions. So
yes, and I tried to answer as many as I could.
My fault. You answered most of them. I do want to point out one thing that really stood out to me when you mentioned the Charlotte Flair comedic aspect.
Yes.
It's really the first time we've seen it in her career. It's probably the most personality she's shown outside of maybe WWE Unreal.
Yes.
Truthfully.
Which helped her,
right?
I think, in a lot of ways.
I think so too.
In fans' eyes.
Humanized her.
Yes.
In a great way. She's could not be more likable on that program.
Yes.
100%.
Like, oh, wait, I forgot. She's not just the queen. She's a real person.
The funny part is, though, I think she's always been genuine. Like, you've seen bits of it, but, like, the internet won't allow that to.
But she's also funny. She is funny,
and
and I think she deserves credit for that. My fear would be to build a rivalry with Jade that kind of has to go away.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what I wanted to lean on.
Here's the thing that people complain about. Oh, Charlotte's always in these title pictures. She's a Flair and has earned that spot. Like, at the end of the day, she's a marquee name. You didn't complain when The Rock or Austin or whoever was in that top spot. Like, it is what it is. They're the moneymakers.
We do have to keep it moving because we're running out of time here, but we got Fernando Sias.
Oh, Chelsea,
I love this. Chelsea Green could face Jade. Oh, wait, never mind. She's not allowed to be in the main event. LOL. That's a nice Unreal reference. That cracked me up.
She also has the injured foot.
Shout out Road Dogg.
No, that wasn't him. It was Michael Hayes.
Oh, it was PSAs. You're right.
Yes.
Sorry. Okay, well, let's keep it rolling to Trick Williams, who's beyond over on SmackDown. And also, if you do hear some noises in the background, I apologize. My neighbors who I asked, I've got a 45-minute show to do, decided now's the time to break out the jackhammer. So,
they're showing their dominance.
If my mic's picking that up, I apologize.
I'm not hearing it, so I think
they were like 25 minutes. That's enough. So Trick Williams is beyond over right now. And not only that, he keeps beating Ray Phoenix. I have only one complaint about this. I've always thought Trick Williams was a star. I really did. And I thought he had the highest ceiling of anybody. Yes, there were a few stumbles along the way that made you feel like maybe he was more green than a Carmelo Hayes or certain other guys. But the ex-pro athlete that he is, the charisma he has on the microphone, this is the guy that was going to figure out the equation and solve it. And he not only did he basically do it in NXT, he's done it to a 10th degree on the main roster since he started, and it's outstanding. But barely over a year ago, I called Ray Phoenix the best wrestler in the world, and I still believe it. I think he's the best wrestler of the Lucha Brothers, and they've never even tagged in the WWE. I believe Penta's outstanding, but Ray Phoenix is so dang good. We just talked about Julia, and it scares me to death. Scares me to death that we have two people this talented, and we are going to miss it. In the words of the great Ferris Bueller, sometimes you got to stop and smell the roses. Otherwise, you'll miss it. That's how I feel right now about Ray Phoenix. But one thing I will say is Trick Williams is getting it right over and over and over again. And if anyone's going to beat Ray Phoenix, I was less upset about this one than other egregious losses. And I want to get your thoughts on it, though. Trick Williams, stunning debut on the main roster.
Yeah, in answer to your question with Ray Phoenix, do I think they could be doing better with him? Yes. I think a lot of it got thrown because they had him tagging with Andrade, which was pretty decent, and then that didn't pan out because Andrade left or was shown the door one way or another. I do think they eventually want to put him with Penta. So I think in a lot of ways he's in a weird holding pattern till Penta gets back. And he's talented enough and over enough where I think he could take a loss and it doesn't necessarily hurt him. I think they could build him back up. Like, I don't think he's damaged to the degree where you're like, yeah, he's unsalvageable. He's not Austin Theory territory. I know people get mad, but I was told he was over and he was so good. Gee, I don't know. Since he's been revealed, I haven't been blown away, but that's a side note. That's a raw topic. Trick Williams, though, to me, in a lot of ways, and I felt that, and Cody felt this way, because I know different shows we've watched together, that he was only as good as who he's up in the ring with. Now, that could be true for a lot of people, but Trick has something that you can't teach, and that is an aura, that he's over with the crowd. He has, in a lot of ways, it reminds me, and Clark, you're old enough to remember this, as I am, when Booker T started getting pushed in WCW, and when you heard, his theme music hit and the crowd would pop. That's what Trick has. The thing is, he needs to build on that, because you can't necessarily just be an entrance. Now, Sandman made it an entire career on being an entrance, but Trick is a much more solid talent than that. But my point being is, you don't want to be pigeonholed into that,
right? Because
the IWC had a problem with Jey Uso in that situation where, he's just an entrance, even though I think he's solid in the ring. But you have to build on what is just natural that you can't create, which is the entrance, and just build a career with that. Is he a future world champion in Trick? I think so. I don't know if it'll be within the next year or two, but it will be happening within the next few years, would be my guess.
I apologize. That's a bad camera cut, because I knew that. I should have known that punchline was coming. That's on me. That was good, because you're right. I think he is a future world champion myself, and I couldn't be more with you. Dealing with this jackhammer situation over here too, so it's kind of the double whammy for me.
He's not referring to Goldberg,
but at the same time, no,
he
not
sure is.
No, I'm talking about like the actual device. Whatever they're doing, it's definitely concrete. I'll tell you that much. But either way, yes, and Penta has been back. He's been cleared for a while. I'd love to see him team with Ray Phoenix, though, because I believe
they're not on the same brand yet.
So. Equally talented. They're not on the same brand yet. Trick. Here's the thing with Trick Williams. Not only is it the look, not only is the entrance, I love the way you reference WCW Booker T.
Yes.
For some reason, and we always talk about how there's this layer when you get called up to the main roster of fans that don't necessarily actually follow NXT.
Yes.
They aren't entirely aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue that Trick Williams, by that portion of the fan base, has been embraced
Yeah.
the most, maybe of any main roster call up in recent memory. Can you think of another one, Mary? That's why I want to ask you about that.
No, and honestly, it's funny how you brought that up because I was thinking the same thing. Like, I don't really know who else off the top of my head that's had that kind of like an OMG debut. I mean, we could talk about someone else from a different brand, but we'll save that for next Thursday.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. All Elite Mary, by the way, cheap plug. Speaking of cheap plugs, that's like our second of the show. Let's keep stacking them up. No doubt about it. But let's also get into our main event of the evening, afternoon, morning. Really does depend on your geography when it comes to this. But Mr. Rhodes, the youngest son of a plumber, Cody Rhodes, is qualified for the Elimination Chamber. Remember when it was like 2 tons of steel? That was so fun.
The original, the original one was a legit
2 tons of steel.
There was no padding. There was no WWE logo on the roof.
Yeah.
That was the real death.
They
trap.
literally could have done that video in 10 seconds and just been like, listen, we're going to put 6 wrestlers in this thing and everyone's going to get hurt. So you should watch.
Honestly, that was probably the best promo package hyping up a match I've ever seen, and still to this day was the original Chamber video.
This is cracking me up from numero 1. Cody versus Drew round 300,000 at WrestleMania. They either need to do another 3 stages of hell, 6 stages of hell this time. There weren't enough stages. You got to up it, numero 1. You got to up it. Or a 60-minute Iron match. No, we can't. Stop. Don't do that to us. No.
Stop it.
No. Please no.
Oh,
Please no.
please.
At the same time, though, Jacob Fatu looks like a star of stars, an absolute star of stars. And it did take the previously mentioned Drew McIntyre to make this as ugly as it got. Obviously, you have the table spot, and you have Drew insert himself into the match on multiple occasions, take a huluva kick. Cody Rhodes, it only took the one crossroads this time. Apparently, he got it all the way. You didn't need to roll through. There's only certain times
Time crunch
to roll
Clark.
through. Yeah,
Time
crunch. Yeah, he only had time for the one. Or maybe he didn't store the super finisher like we're in WWE 2K. Either way, that they literally put in the game just for him. At the same time, though, Cody Rhodes is qualified for this Elimination Chamber. I would have loved for it to be Jacob Fatu or Sami Zayn. I don't know why it was these 3 in a qualifying match in the first place. And what do you do with the other 2 if they're not in the chamber? I hope there's some sort of last chance, because I believe one of the 2 between Jacob and Sami should be in this match. But before I just completely rant about my thoughts on this main event, I want to ask Mary and Anthony, and then we'll all break it down.
Eat, sleep, Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes, repeat. Yawn. I'm sleeping. Stop it. It's so difficult because it's like we were so mad that Cody was champ, and now we're still mad that he's not. And I don't get it. Does this mean a last chance for Jacob Fatu to finally pull the upset? Is it Sammy's time one more time? I don't know. It's like the direction that they're putting these really, 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 really talent, and I'm concerned. I'm concerned for the main event scene. I mean, we're already locked in with one main event. Now this particular one, it's like, what are we doing? As the wise words of Clark Taylor, what are we doing here? I'm confused. I have really, and I don't mean to say I'm confused as in I don't know like what to say to that. I truly don't, because it could be anything. It could be a Jacob Fatu last chance. It could be a Sami last chance. Jacob Fatu could absolutely demolish somebody and then take his spot. Who knows? It could.
I am so with you. I would honestly love actually Jacob to do a rip the door off spot. Like that was sort of reserved from Kane or for Kane back in the day.
Hell in a Cell, yes.
But I wouldn't hate Fatu going like, no. I want to get my hands on Drew, somehow being told he can't. And he's not in the chamber. And then suddenly not only is he in the chamber, he's opening that cage and he's voluntarily going in there because you can tell a heck of a story because we also know about his history in the incarceration system. So you can tell a heck of a story with Fatu when it comes to chamber in general. And that was my only bugaboo coming out of last night. Was all three guys in this match made sense for the match that we're trying to book. Sammy makes sense. Sammy trying to come back from a disappointing loss, an opportunity of the life of his life.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob Fatu doesn't like being caged. We know that. He's expressed that. He's talked about his past. The Elimination Chamber might be the most dangerous spot for Fatu. You can arguably make that his match. To keep him out of that, I think would be, and I guess pun intended now that we're here, I think it'd be criminal. And I want to hear your thoughts on this.
The reason this triple threat worked is because there's history with all three individuals. And it all stems from the bloodline. Full circle with this. It worked. Sammy, in a lot of ways, and this dawned on me when I was watching the match this morning, is that he reminds me, and this is another throwback, he reminds me of Mick Foley in that he can't win the big one, or he can't get to that Mania main event. I mean, granted, he had the Mania main event with the tag match, but like the solo match for the title, the big one, I loved it because they let it play out, and then they had Drew interfere because it makes sense, because there's no disqualification, which, by the way, I know Clark and I have talked about this off air. I don't remember back in the day, multi-man, 3-man, 4-way, whatever, being no disqualification, but that's like the standard now. I don't know if that's a Mandela effect. I don't remember that being the case. But anyway, Drew interfering made sense because he hates all three people. So it made sense for him to be in there. And then putting, Sammy's arm on somebody, on Cody to win. Why would he do that? Well, if you know the history, Sammy's never beaten Drew. Drew doesn't want to take on Cody because that's a threat for his title. Nobody that would possibly be sane would want to face Jacob for the title on the grandest stage. So it made sense for him to interfere with this match. Cody winning, it's a safe bet. I don't think they're going Cody Drew, especially with the talk that the WrestleMania tickets aren't moving. That's not, it's an interesting match, but not enough for a one-on-one. Now, I've been saying I think it's going to be a triple threat with Cody, Jacob, and Drew. But I'm concerned that they would go Jacob and Sammy as a separate match and have Cody and Drew. What I think they should do at this point, because they're all ingrained, I think you go WrestleMania 2000, and that is a 4-way for the title minus the McMahons. That's what I think you do, and I would have Jacob pull up the win and have him pin probably Sammy, not pin Drew, maybe pin Cody. I don't think he pins
Orton
the champion.
as the fourth?
It would be Jacob, Drew, Cody, and
Sammy.
Oh, yeah. Jacob, Drew, Cody, Sammy.
Yeah, Sammy. Yeah.
Sorry,
you're making me forget.
Never mind.
So I would go
too many names.
Yeah. So I would go that route with it. You only go Cody. If he's turning heel, he's doing Homelander, he has his court of people, whether it's Ricky Saints, Ethan Page, maybe Royce Keys. Maybe you build the thing as Homelander, and that builds to Sammy taking the title off of him, the heel, at Mania next year.
I wonder.
That's my thought.
I wonder if a route to get there, and this is going to be crazy, but if somehow it did play out, but a route to get there in the chamber, so things play out sort of as we've both presented, and Mary even is presented as well. Jacob Fatu hits that best moonsault ever, but does it crazily off the top of the chamber.
Okay.
The way that he crawls,
like RVD off a chamber.
He can only get to Cody enough to like lay an arm over. Cody lays an arm back over, double pin. They
Yeah.
pin each other.
Yeah.
They pin each other.
Mm-hmm.
And now, wait a minute, who's the real?
They're both gone.
If they're the
No,
last,
that's
if
the
they're the
finish
last
of it.
two, then it's
No,
a
they're the
draw.
last two. It's a draw. So what do you do? Right?
That
I
gets you a
think-
triple threat.
That's how you get to your triple threat. Then the way you insert Sammy is later.
Well, Sammy would just probably make a pest out of himself to finally, like Drew's like, fine, I'll take you on too. I don't care. You've never beaten me.
I think that's how we get Sammy in the match.
Sammy keeps sticking his nose in the three-way and then finally gets to that point.
The Orton factor is there too. Because
don't
I
think
have
Orton's
this
facing him.
weird feeling in my head though that I'd love if Orton's going to turn heel again one more time. I'd love for him to be the voices in Fatu's head. That
Orton's
keep telling him that it was Drew.
Orton's taking
That
on
keep
Trick.
telling him that it was Drew and not. I do
Or-
think it is Orton Trick now, but
Yes.
I'd love if they told that story on the other side of it. Either way, though, we could break this down the rest of the day. We have all kinds of wrestling to talk about, but that is going to bring us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Smash that thumbs up, the notifications button, like, subscribe. What's the new button again? Hype? Click the hype button. Apparently, like, it helps us out. Like, it works. So definitely do the hype button if you haven't clicked it. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow, of course. That's noon Pacific, 3 o'clock on the East Coast, 8 o'clock in the UK, and 9 a.m. for my good friends in Hawaii. On behalf of me, Anthony, and Mary, everybody at WR, have a great rest of your Saturday. Enjoy Collision tonight from Australia. If you haven't seen it already, enjoy the wrestling the rest of the week, and we will talk to you soon. We're only a few weeks away from Chamber. It's kind of crazy. Whatever, Ben. Take that.